Slavery is back.
Welcome to a place where private business profit from a captive labour force, yet pennies are spent on medical services to a population in which the Indigenous, the poor and the mentally ill are overrepresented. Where isolation, humiliation and degradation are facts of life. Welcome to prison.
It depends who's telling the story, I suppose. The prisoners would have one view, the people who work in the prison system would have another, and I think it's up to people to decide where the truth is.
Give government propaganda and the media spin doctors the flick. And check out Doin Time for news, views and tunes on prison issues from Guantanamo Bay to Christmas Island to prisons and detention centres everywhere. Every Monday at 4 p.m. on your community radio 3CR.
We are still fired up and we're still talking about revolution.
Hello and welcome to the Doin Time Show. This is 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial, streaming live on www.3cr.org.au. This is Marisa and I'll be taking you through until 5 o'clock this evening. And a warning that there may be audio descriptions of Aboriginal people and Torres-Strait Islander peoples that have died. And in fact, last week we did a commemoration broadcast for TJ Hickey, and TJ Hickey is a 17-year-old First Nations teenager who died in 2004 after being impaled on a fence during a chase by racist police. The Hickey family has been seeking justice for TJ ever since, and this is despite New South Wales police doing everything they can to weaken and subdue them. The police want the family to rewrite history and accept that TJ's death was an accident. The family refuses and has been harassed and persecuted, with raids on their homes becoming almost routine. I wanted to actually give that little introduction because this is the second part of the series in regards to the commemoration of TJ Hickey, because there was a rally last Tuesday on the 14th, on the day of his death, and we were not able to report on that. So instead, last Monday, as a lead up to the rally, we interviewed Cheryl from ISJA in Melbourne, and she spoke quite a lot about TJ and sent a message of support. And then later on in the show, we'll be speaking with Raul Bassi, and continuing that discussion. But I can't say last but not least because Paddy Gibson, who is an anti-racist activist, is coming on first. And I know I've kind of done it backwards, but I really did need to really make listeners aware that this is going to be the second part of the series in regards to the commemoration of TJ. But I wanted to formally introduce Paddy Gibson, who the Doin Time Show has a lot of respect for. He's an anti-racist activist. And we've done some work on the court case. The court case and the sentencing. Neo-Nazi sentences to jail for attack on anti-racist house. Desmond Lidington, a neo-Nazi extremist who pleaded guilty to his part in the attack on the home of Black Lives Matter activist Paddy Gibson in 2021, has been sentenced to 2.5 years in jail with a non-parole period of 18 months. And Lidington was sentenced in the Sutherland Local Court on the 6th of February for his role in the 2021 house attack. I'm going to be talking to Paddy pretty soon about this, and he's also going to be talking about fascism in general and looking at far-reaching issues in regards to the homeless First Nations people that have been attacked and harassed in New South Wales. It has been a long introduction, but I did need to let listeners know about Paddy as well. Hello, Paddy. Welcome to the program.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
It's lovely to have you. And yeah, we've had, sorry for the long intro, but I kind of really had to talk about TJ again today.
I know it's really important. Keep up the good work, comrade.
Thanks so much. Now, Paddy, can you just explain to us what's been going on? What's happening with with your story now, and just give listeners some background.
Sure. Well, it was just over a year ago now. It would have been December of 2021 that my house in suburban Sydney was attacked by three neo-Nazis, three fascists. And, I had suffered some harassment from the far right previously, but it had all been talk, So, the reason they came after me and my partner here at our house is because we do a lot of solidarity organising with Aboriginal people. They're also very anti-communist, it needs to be said. I've, gone and looked at a lot of the Facebook profiles and stuff of people that are involved in this group, and they are quite obsessed with, Reds. And actually one of the guys who attacked the house had his Facebook profile holding a double-barrel shotgun, and it said, "Better dead than red," as the slogan. So, they're very racist. They're also very sort of anti-socialist, anti-communist, and I am a socialist. I'm part of the group Solidarity. I'm on the editorial committee. So they don't like me both for the anti-racist organising I do and the fact that I'm, a socialist. So I sort of came to their attention because I was in the media quite a bit during the big Black Lives Matter rallies we had here in Sydney. For many years I've been involved in organising protests against deaths in custody here in Sydney, and in particular had developed quite a close relationship with the family of David Dungay Jr., who was killed in Long Bay Prison, quite a high-profile death in custody here in Sydney in 2017. And I'd worked with David's family over many years, going to lots of small demonstrations at the time, demanding justice for David, trying to expose what had happened with his killing. He was murdered by the prison guards. They, charged into his cell and held him down, pushing him into the ground. He was shouting out, "I can't breathe," just like George Floyd was shouting out, "I can't breathe," until he perished. And, I was very proud to stand with that family and very inspired by the stand they took when the news came through about George Floyd's death in the United States and the massive Black Lives Matter protests that happened in response. The Dungay family were really on the front foot to sort of take advantage of the fact that there was all this interest suddenly in the issue of black deaths in custody, and especially the, "I can't breathe" and the whole death from asphyxia, positional asphyxia, is exactly how they killed George Floyd. It's how they killed David Dungay Jr. And so they were very quick out of the blocks with statements of solidarity with George Floyd's family, and played a leading role in calling demonstrations here in Sydney. We had an amazing demonstration with more than 40,000 people who came out, against attempts by the New South Wales Supreme Court and the police to actually ban that demonstration. So it was a very emotionally charged time in the media. The rallies were being condemned by government and police spokespeople. They were saying that we were going to be responsible for spreading COVID, because this was during the sort of the lockdown period. There weren't actual lockdowns when we were having our rallies, but there were some quite heavy restrictions on people gathering in public. And no matter what we did to sort of say that, we'd be gathering safely, we'd point to the football stadiums that were open to sport, but they weren't allowing people to protest, but they wouldn't listen. And, I ended up being taken to the Supreme Court by the New South Wales Police Commissioner because the Dungay family had wanted me to actually lead police liaison for one of the rallies, and was in the media quite a bit defending our right to protest and speaking about the issues of black deaths in custody. And that's when I started getting death threats. So it was quite extraordinary, actually, like my email inbox, because my email's public. I work at a university. People could find my email quite easily. I started getting all these, threatening, abusive and, annoying emails from a lot of people, but then some more serious, threats to me. And I would just like to take a moment to say, I'm a non-Indigenous man. Sure. This was something that, had happened to me. It hadn't really happened before, but a lot of the Aboriginal people that I organise with, this is standard, right? Like Lizzie Jarrett, who's also a Dungay family member. She is a leading death in custody activist here in Sydney. You should see the awful stuff that's sent to her all the time by random people, via Facebook Messenger, or if they get hold of her phone number or something like this. So it's certainly not the case that I was singled out for treatment. This is something that our Aboriginal comrades deal with all the time. But it's not something that I took that seriously, I'd have to say. We did report some of it to police because at one stage there was even threats that they were going to shoot the demonstration, shoot up the demonstration that we were organising at the time. That ended up getting broken up by police, and we all got arrested that day. We're still going through court for those charges. But I mean, that was the sort of the context for what I realise now was actually quite a lot of discussion about me on far-right websites. I didn't realise at the time, but going back and searching for my name on Nazi websites, you could see there was a lot of discussion about me. People were talking about, attacking me. There was even someone had posted my address on one of these forums. I didn't know it at the time, but there were plans being made at that time to hurt me and my family. And then, it was more than a year later, we were just, relaxing on a Saturday night. Thankfully, my children weren't home. I've got 2 young children that were staying out at my parents' place that night, but me and my partner were home. And we just heard a knock at the door. It sounded like the police were at the door, actually. It was that kind of a sort of insistent knock. And I approached the door and looked through, and there was 3 big skinheads standing there at the door. And I knew they were fascists straight away as soon as I saw them. They had the sort of Eureka flag insignia, and, they were very obviously fascists. And I moved, up the back of the house, and they just started smashing the house. So they really started smashing the front door like they were trying to force entry. They picked up a table that was on the front porch and ripped off a security grill that was on the front of one of our windows, smashed in one of the windows. It's my eldest child's window that they smashed in. And we thought they were coming in, to hurt us. And we tried to call police. Police didn't come for half an hour, actually. And we were very lucky that some of our neighbours, we were able to call one of our neighbours. And there's a big Lebanese community where I live here. And there was a strong response, and people came, and the fascists sort of ran away. But it was a scary sort of moment, and we did realise how vulnerable we were, and have had to take steps since then to really fortify our house, security cameras, a whole lot of security gear. Have had to be really careful about sharing, photos of the kids on social media and stuff far more than I have been previously. So it was a bit of a wake-up call about, how serious these groups are. And the police didn't come, as I mentioned, but, we've been active on the left here in Sydney for a long time, both me and my partner. She's quite a senior delegate in the Maritime Union. She works at the wharves. And we have a lot of support in the trade union movement. So there was some quite intense lobbying after the attack of the state government and the Labor Party about what's happened here, and the police then did respond, and we sort of realised that there's actually quite an extensive intelligence operation going on, that they knew exactly who these people were. They'd been following them. They had pictures of them at a fascist gathering earlier that day, and it wasn't too much trouble at all to find them and charge them, and there was plenty of evidence about their violent histories and past. But, that all did come out, and the police did act, and they were charged, and, Liddington's now been given quite a hefty sentence. But, I don't think really that the government or, society generally is taking seriously enough the threat of these far-right groups. I mean, the police are watching them, but they're certainly not communicating, more broadly to society about how serious these guys are. They train with weapons. They're well organised. They're, open about their white supremacy. And there's, anti-fascist groups that are watching them as well. And a bit of a shout out to the group White Rose. They are very good in terms of providing my family with a lot of background information about the people that have attacked us. And, and they do believe that these guys are responsible for, I know you mentioned at the top of the story, some attacks on homeless Aboriginal people here in Sydney. So there was a spate of Aboriginal people who were bashed in Belmore Park earlier in 2021, and they do believe that this group's responsible for that. There's been no justice for that. There's been no follow-up on that. They're active, they're violent, and it looks like what they do is take their younger, newer members into these sort of violent altercations as a way of, testing their mettle, or as some kind of whatever, welcome to the group, blooding, the new members. We think that was probably involved with the attack on our house, and that's probably been in what was going on with some of the previous attacks that I mentioned as well. So they're called Firm 22, and they're part of an international organisation called the Vinlanders, and they're active on the east coast here with members from Newcastle down to Nowra. So it is it's a serious situation that needs to be taken seriously. Yeah.
Well, we'll see if they do. I'm doubtful that it is being taken seriously enough. But I believe that all three men were charged over the attack on your house. Can you comment on the sentencing?
Sure. Well, yeah, the first guy, Max Ferrer, he pled guilty quite quickly and was given a non-custodial sentence and like a community corrections order. And that's probably because, well, firstly, the courts generally don't take these issues seriously, but secondly, he didn't have much of a criminal history. And also, at the time of his sentencing, the police held back quite a lot of the intelligence that they had on this group, I think because they didn't want to blow their cover or whatever they were doing in terms of their operation targeting the group, I'm not sure. But for whatever reason, there wasn't enough material filed with the court to convince the magistrate that, this guy was a neo-Nazi and this was an ideologically motivated attack. So that probably had something to do with his lighter sentence. Lidington, Desmond Lidington, he's the second one to be sentenced. He also pled guilty, and he got 2.5 years, which is far more like it. That's finally the kind of sentence we need. It's an 18-month non-parole period. But I don't think the court had any option other than to give Desmond a custodial sentence because, firstly, he was out on bail for domestic violent offences when he actually attacked our house. He has a string of violent offences to his name, including armed robbery. He, was got other assault charges pending currently. And when he appeared in the sentencing hearing, he was actually on video link from prison because 3 months prior he had got really drunk one night and hung around outside the Narellan police station and driven up the back of a police car and jumped out of his car and said, "Arrest me," to the police. So he'd done it deliberately to get arrested. So, who knows what's going on there. Maybe he wants to recruit inside, and in that sense, we're glad that, Desmond's got a custodial sentence, but it's not like this is any solution to the issue of the far right. He'll be in there trying to recruit and he'll get out one day. And, it's the political situation that allows these groups to grow and allows them to operate with impunity, and the racist, government policies that really give oxygen to their arguments that I think, is the real issue that needs to be taken on, not, we can't unfortunately arrest our way out of this problem, even if the police were willing to. So, it is good Desmond's gone away for a while, but, it's no solution to the issue. There's a third guy, Clement Gilbert, who for some reason is pleading not guilty. I mean, there's CCTV footage of him at our house, so, I don't think he hasn't got much luck, but he's pleading not guilty and his trial is set for the 21st of March, which ironically is the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. So he'll be up before a magistrate on the 21st of March, and we're hoping he changes his plea before then, because otherwise we'll actually have to go to court and give evidence, and not particularly wanting to do that. If we do go to court, we'll make sure we go in numbers. We've had some good offers, particularly from trade unionists, the Maritime Union and others, that they want to be there, to make sure there's a strong show that we're not mucking around, and we're not going to face these attacks again. There's a strong community here that will defend us. We do hope that he does plead guilty and he gets a custodial sentence as well. But as I said, the police and the prisons is no solution to this. I mean, police is just as much a part of the problem as anything else. So it's a more general issue, I think, about the need for people to recognise how serious the threat of the far right is, and for people to build an anti-racist movement that can actually cut off the oxygen to these people. So regardless of what political persuasion, whether you're an anarchist, a socialist, whether it's about being Aboriginal or having a disability or being transgender, can you describe to listeners what the principles are, if you could call it that, of fascism and Nazism? Because it appears that they want to demonise and attack anybody that's different. That's right. I mean, the sort of press release we put out, I said, they're looking to attack anyone that doesn't conform to their fantasy of white Australia. They've, got this, vision of an ethno-state. I mean, Australia was an ethno-state, Australia was a whites-only, colony for a long time, and white supremacy still runs deep through the whole system here. So, they don't have to imagine a white supremacist ethno-state on this continent. There was one, and, you could argue in many ways, that there still is. But they, have a vision of, kicking out all the immigrants, getting rid of Aboriginal people, having a, white fantasy sort of society. And as I said before, they're also anti-socialist, anti-communist, anti-union. They, that's, I guess, one of the important features of fascism historically is it has emerged to attack and break up the organised working class. I mean, that was the situation in the roots of fascism in Italy, the roots of fascism in Germany, across the whole place was sort of in response to the growth of, revolutionary socialism and militant trade unionism, and fascist street gangs would, attack the labour movement, attack trade union picket lines, try and break up. One of the first things Hitler did when he came to power was outlaw, trade unions and communists and the Social Democratic Party. So, there is that very strong, anti-labour, anti-union philosophy as well, and it's, all in the service of, like I said, sort of a white supremacist sort of dictatorship that they want to establish.
Absolutely. And in fact, I've been studying a little bit of history of World War II and what happened afterwards, and it's interesting that Germany was split in two, wasn't it? Wasn't Russia involved somehow in that?
Well, yeah. I mean, you had, Germany was occupied by, the Red Army in the east, and the, NATO, what became NATO in the west, and split down the middle. Yeah, for sure.
Paddy, it's so great to have you on. And lastly, I just wanted to, I want to wish you the very best. I mean, it's not just about you, it's about everybody, it's about everybody that's vilified, and it's really fantastic that you've been able to, to speak on the show today. But there is one more thing that I wanted to ask you in regards to your view, I suppose, as an activist, anti-racist activist. Why is fascism alive? It's not discussed a lot in the media. Why is it that we're having more fascism now? Is that because of the economy going bad? Is it because of the pandemic? Is it both?
Yeah, look, I think there's a range of things going on. I think in general, as I sort of said before, the, intensity of the racist ideology that, is part of Australian nationalism always means that there's going to be room for people who want to take a strict white Australia approach to actually flourish and grow. Yeah. So, you look at anti-Aboriginal racism, it's just, absolutely central to the whole political setup we've got here in Australia, establishing a colony on stolen land and negating, Aboriginal sovereignty and the presence of Aboriginal people. But for the last 15 years, we've had, explicitly racist policy such as the Northern Territory Intervention, which literally says Aboriginal people are second-class citizens who can have, less rights than the rest of people. And, and that's happening even today. They've just reimposed, race-based, restrictions on Alice Springs, and, the people still living on an income management system just because they're Aboriginal, despite the change of government and the promises that have come from the Albanese government. So you've got a generally racist policy environment that puts Aboriginal people as second-class citizens, etc., or demonises Muslims, demonises migrants. So in that context, you are going to get, more extreme expressions. You are going to get more extreme expressions, sort of that, of that racism, with the far right. I think, there's also a situation where you have, polarisation in society that comes, out of the crisis of capitalism, that comes out of the economic situation, and people through the whole pandemic, huge numbers of people lost work. There's a lot of anger and frustration about government policy at that time, and it was in those conditions that these fascists can actually grow. And I think that, they did successfully manage to, openly march as part of all of those anti-lockdown sort of protests or the anti-vaccination stuff. They felt very confident to be open and recruit, and it was, I think they had the wind in their sails from all of those sorts of big demonstrations that gave them the confidence to be able to do something like, okay, we're going to go and attack the House like they attacked our house. So, yeah, I think it is a combination of the fact that you've got racist mainstream ideology that allows these groups to grow, but then they can also exploit the fact that, whatever, people are insecure or, looking for answers, and stand there and say, hey, well, join us. You can feel part of this, group. We're going somewhere. We've got we've got this vision. They've got, plenty of hate, to go around. So, I do think the circumstances of the sort of the disruption and the social pain and stuff that happened during the pandemic was capitalised upon by fascists. And I mean, there was no shortage of racism through the pandemic. You think about the way that, Chinese and the migrants and stuff were blamed for the spread of COVID, the closed border politics, etc., that we had at the time. So I think it was, a particular moment where these groups were able to get some wind in their sails.
Absolutely. But racism has been going on for, like you said, there was a White Australia policy. I mean, even when I was growing up here in the 1970s, you had my uncles, Italian men that were being kicked off trams, and me being called a wog at school. It's still alive and well, and it's historical.
Oh, absolutely. And they've always been there. There's always been, that far right, and you see at times, like in the Depression in the 1930s, grew into a serious mass movement. The New Guard here in Sydney, they were drilling training on the streets, So they're always present. It's always part of the system, and it requires constant vigilance, to keep them in their place and push them back, because any chance they get, they'll grow, and any growth will lead to pain, will lead to attacks on, people of colour, attacks on our Aboriginal comrades, attacks on queer people. So it's, it is very serious, and it needs to be confronted.
Paddy, thank you so much for coming onto the program today. And we're going to be interviewing Raul Bassi pretty soon from ISJA Sydney about TJ. Any comments about TJ really quickly before we finish?
Oh, no, just ongoing solidarity with that family, waged an amazing struggle, continuing to come out and call for justice. And it provides a lot of inspiration to a lot of other families that I work with, like the fact that, the people keep coming out. TJ's not forgotten, and we just continue to need to get behind these brave Aboriginal families that are standing up against this, inhuman, system, which is killing so many.
And paying tribute, even though it's not his anniversary yet, but paying tribute also to Uncle Ray Jackson, who did so much work in regards to TJ and other deaths in custody.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Paddy. Thanks so much. Keep up the good work.
All right.
Thanks.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. And that was Paddy Gibson, anti-racist activist from Sydney, speaking about a range of issues, in particular how some neo-Nazis broke into his house. And, we spoke about fascism as a whole.
Do you believe in the right to protest? Are you concerned about climate change and the environment? Then come and make your voice heard at a mass meeting on the right to organise for climate and the environment. Join others at 6:30pm on Tuesday, March 7th at 535 Elizabeth Street, Central Melbourne, to discuss and then vote on practical ways to support climate action and the environment, and to defend the right to protest. Speakers include proud Gunai-Kurnai woman Marjorie Thorpe, United Workers Union's Godfrey Mose, and Environment Justice Australia lawyer Natalie Hogan, and will be facilitated by Tuffy Morwitzer, campaigner for the Goongerah Environment Centre. Come participate in some direct democracy for a better world. Your voice matters. RSVP is essential. Go to gecko.org.au/calendar to book your ticket. This event is wheelchair accessible and Auslan interpreted. A 3CR supporter.
Join us for the upcoming public forum, Sovereignty, Treaty and First Nations Justice, hosted by Green Left on Monday, February 20th at 6:30pm at the Drill Hall on 506 Elizabeth Street. With the upcoming referendum on Voice to Parliament, discussion about the best ways to fight for treaty sovereignty and First Nations justice have been growing. The massive Invasion Day protests of tens of thousands of people across the country is another sign of the growing movement for First Nations justice.
And I saw it on the television.
Hear from two long-standing First Nations activists, Uncle Gary Murray and Lydia Thorpe, about their views on how to advance treaty, sovereignty and justice for First Nations people, and their views on the current discussion about voice to Parliament. 6:30pm, Monday, February 20th, at the Drill Hall on 506 Elizabeth Street. Green Left is a 3CR supporter.
The fog is lifting above the river, separates these shores, worn down by time. The stream is surging, it's silently urging me to look at its reflection and everything it holds. Well, I finally found an answer, it's not what I expected, and I can only thank you for giving me the truth. Now I won't wonder and I need not bother you. Questions that fluster, force you to retreat. Well, I know that change will come, but I won't go. If we can't find forgiveness, there's no peace we can know. It's just an early warning that I'll take. And I could let it throw me down, but I can't afford to break. There's a haunting feeling, a voice that's appealing, to hear things clearly and set my mind to rest. Oh, you wash the tired illusions from my eyes. You spared me all the dangers of those seductive lies. Oh, all I believe I must let go. All we conceive, time can only know. Stand beside me, see this river flow. Look into its currents, moving logs and shaping stones. Well, I finally found an answer, it's not what I expected, but I can only thank you for giving me the truth. Now I won't wonder and I need not bother you. Questions that fluster, force you to retreat. Oh, stand beside me, see this river flow. Look into its currents, moving logs and shaping stones.
And in case you've just tuned in, this is the Doin Time Show, and you've just been listening to a song by Les Thomas, and it's called Shaping Stones. And Les Thomas is a really amazing Aboriginal musician, and I really enjoy listening to his music. It's approximately 4:34, and we're meant to be speaking with Raul Bassi at the moment from ISJA Sydney, and in regards to TJ Hickey, and I wanted to actually get a report back from him for the rally, but at the moment we are unable to locate him. So it's been a pretty full-on couple of weeks with the Doin Time Show, with about 3 interviews and lots of each show and lots of statements from, for example, Veronica Nelson's family. So it's probably good today to have a very low-key type of show. I'm going to be reading out a very important article. It's a media release put out by the Human Rights Law Centre, and it's for immediate release, and it was Friday the 17th of February 2023, so it's quite current, and it's entitled Case Challenging Age Pension Discrimination for Aboriginal and Torres-Strait Islander People to be Heard. Listeners may recall that I interviewed Nerita Waite in 2021 from the Victorian Aboriginal Legal Service about this challenge, and I'm hoping to get her back on the show in the next couple of weeks. And in fact, there's a court case happening today about this. A legal challenge against the Australian government seeking fair and equal access to the age pension for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people will be heard by the full federal court this week. Proud Waka Waka man, Uncle Dennis, is bringing the case through where the federal government will face court for the first time in connection with its failure to close the gap in life expectancy between Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and non-Indigenous people. Uncle Dennis is bringing this case with the Victorian Aboriginal Legal Service and the Human Rights Law Centre with support from DLA Piper. The full court will consider whether Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are denied equal access to the age pension due to lower average life expectancy, and whether the pension age for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people should be lowered. And I believe there could be some good news about Raul. I'm just going to put on an announcement.
Travellers Aid Australia is offering free scooter safety training sessions. They will help mobility scooter and powered wheelchair users to practice their skills and build confidence in navigating their local community and accessing public transport. These sessions are delivered by trained facilitators and volunteers and are provided across Melbourne. For more information or to register interest, visit travellersaid.org.au, call on 03 9654 2600 or email info@travellersaid.org.au. Travellers Aid Australia is a 3CR supporter.
The Yurruk Justice Commission is the first formal truth-telling inquiry into injustice experienced by First Peoples in Victoria. From Monday, February 27 to Friday, March 10, Yurruk is holding public hearings with First Peoples witnesses who have experienced injustice in the child protection and criminal justice systems. You can watch the hearings online or make a submission at yurrukjusticecommission.org. A 3CR supporter.
And you're back with the Doin Time show, and we've just located Raul, and we'll be speaking with him very shortly. But I just wanted to also, I'm glad that I was able to read out that half of that that media release from the Human Rights Law Centre. Check it out on the website. It is really important that Aboriginal people are given the same rights as everybody else in regards to the pension, given that there are, lots of gaps in life expectancy. But now on to Raul Bassi, who's going to be giving a report back on the rally for last Tuesday for TJ Hickey. And I'm going to welcome Raul now to the program. Hello, Raul.
Hey, hello. How are you?
Good. It's lovely to have you. Now, Raul, I wanted to just speak quickly about Ray Jackson and what he said about TJ before we actually talk about it. So Ray Jackson, who's passed on, he's an Indigenous warrior, yes. And the police force was founded, he said this, a quote from him, and Ray Jackson says the police force was founded not only on the theft of Aboriginal land, but also from the historic brutal genocide of First Nations people. And he says that things haven't changed. Can you talk about the rally and TJ and what's happened?
Yeah, well, do you know that it was the 19th anniversary of the death of TJ?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's too many times. The family's been strong, really strong. Gail, the mother, is one of the strongest women I've saw in my life. I'm a bit old, okay, and that's really, really strong. And all the rallies that we organize, I went to talk to Gail as first thing, and we talk and we decided what we're gonna do. The problem is, with 19 years, we start to have, we finish all the possibilities, even that we don't believe in the justice of the system because we know it's never happened. But at least we get people getting behind of the case of TJ and the many other cases of death in custody. That was the important thing that we did was it was 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, we organized a petition. The condition for the petition in New South Wales, I don't know if it's the same on Victoria, but the petition only can go to the upper house in Parliament. It has to, for instance, to be attended, it has to be done with signatures, real signatures, no internet. We cannot do it on internet. It has to do it in pages, signed, with addresses, with they're supposed to be citizens, residents in New South Wales, the one that can sign. No.
Sorry, can you just explain to us how did you come to organise a petition? And is it current? You're talking about now, is it?
Yeah, no. Now it's not. The petition was another step because it was a time there were many petitions going around.
I get it. Yeah.
And some people talk to Gail. They say, "What about my petition?" Yeah, we do the petition. I said 14,000 signatures.
Gail Hickey is talking about. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Gail is look. Nothing happened without approval of Gail and the family. You know that. It's the way that we work.
Of course.
After that, we present the petition, and we didn't hear anything, when in reality there are times, the real line times to do the response. One day, in the same time, the people from the upper house prepare a committee to investigate this in custody, blah, blah, blah. And when we went to we were invited. We brought the case of a few people, TJ, Tani, Churchill, the case of what's the name, Eric Whitaker, and all the people around us. And they put the condition. One of the conditions was don't talk about incidents or tragedies or whatever that wasn't already investigated. And we brought the TJ Hickey as a first thing because never was properly investigated.
Yeah.
But the president or whatever was from the committee decided that no, TJ Hickey was blah, 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 blah. And I said, they asked me what was the difference, what is the investigation that never happened. Simple. The two inquests were done for the same coroner that decided that that the police was never responsible, and when they asked, the lawyer asked for the police to be interrogated, the coroners jumped and said, no, they are not going to talk because they don't want to talk. And that's it. And the afterwards, two new inquests done for the same coroner.
Yeah.
It's impossible to change. And when we start to make noise regarding to the petition, because we never have a response. In one moment,
I see what you're saying. So you're saying, Raul, that the petition happened around that time that he died, and even afterwards, and there's been no response at all.
No. Sorry, there was a response, But we never received it.
You never received it? Okay.
You never received it because they put the top of the upper house is Attorney General in New South Wales.
Why? Can I ask you something, Raul? Sorry to interrupt. Wasn't David Shoebridge going to be doing some work there, the Greens MP?
No. David's okay. Sorry, I'm not trying to put David in discussion.
No, I realise that.
Because why I find
just a bit of curiosity.
Some people were close to David. David is got more experience, probably. It's not so...
Yeah, I just thought the Greens were going to do something, but obviously not.
No, they did something. They helped with the petition. They helped with that.
Perfect.
But there was not... When we present the petition in Parliament, okay? Actually, we couldn't present it because no one from the Parliament came. The only one who came was David.
Oh, wow.
Understand? No one coming, we give it to David, we take photos and whatever for the papers and so on. Doesn't matter. The question was, when I started to push in the inquest, what was the result of the petition? Because I never have a response. One of the people in the committee said, I got a response for the petition. Yes, thank you. We didn't see it. And you know what it says, the response of the petition? In a writing by hand from the Attorney General saying this petition cannot go away because there have been many inquests about the death of TJ Hickey. And that's it. And I put it there, and I put it out, everything. No discussion once, that is one of the rules, no one discussion in the upper house of the Parliament in New South Wales.
I'm not surprised. Raul. And
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised in the least. But now, Raul, sorry, because we're going to be running out of time. Do you remember last year?
Sorry. I come back to that. These things happen. All these things take us to the idea what we can do to change, because the things that we are doing are not working.
Absolutely. No, I know. And let me explain to you something, Raul. Remember last year when you and I were having a conversation in 2022 about this same thing? In fact, the Valentine's Day, on the 14th of February, happens to be Valentine's Day. That day was when the rally happened, with TJ when he died. Do you remember that we spoke and you were at the fence line and you were talking to me about the rally?
Yes.
That was a very powerful time for both of us. Now, you can't be at the fence line today, but I'm wondering if you could just describe to listeners so that they think they're there. Can you talk about the rally and just talk about what was the police presence, how many people, what was Gail like, what happened last week?
The last week was the police, we are in front of, I don't know exactly what is going on. The police is being a bit more, not helpful because they cannot be helpful, but less strict than they sometimes were. We do whatever we want. We march. We went to the police station as usual. We did all the things that we do normally. No problem, no discussion, blah, 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 blah. That's different. But still, there were more police than protesters, okay? As usual. Because the rallies for TJ, even when we got big rallies, then we got big police presence. Big police presence. But I don't want to be exclusive. Most of the rallies around Aboriginal stuff, yes, a lot of police. It's classic here in New South Wales. I don't know if it's the same in other places. But that's what happened. But anyway, we did the rally. The rally was good. The problem is our best rallies for TJ is when the date came in Saturday, Sunday, when the people don't have to work. We don't have biggest numbers, but we have a Saturday and we collected approximately 700 people for the rally, okay, for TJ. This was slightly small, but the reason was that there's not many people, and we're coming from a period of certain people getting a bit of I don't know. They say they are tired. They blah 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 blah. Okay, well, I'm not tired, and I'll keep doing what we're supposed to do. Well, okay, this rally was good because what we did was find a way to try to keep the situation in action. How can we do that? Is because we decided, I don't know if you are aware, the memorial that we have for TJ was something that was given by the Minister for Health of New South Wales, because we noticed that it was going to be a lot of response in support of TJ Hickey. And he gave us for one day. We never could put the plaque. He never could put the plaque in the place. Blah blah blah. He came to say that yes, they're gonna make a memorial. The plaque we cannot put it in the place, but the Gail can write a new plaque. That is now, etc., etc. But it's attached at a tower that is part of the social housing of New South Wales. So if they touch the tower, they touch the memorial.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Understand? And also touch the memorial. It touched the place when TJ was in pay.
You're saying that there's going to be gentrification, and the rich are going to take over and get rid of that spot.
Yeah, remember the towers all around the place? You remember the towers, all the big towers. The problem is the two first towers are one the tower next to TJ and one the tower is across the road. Understand? All that area, boom. So I was thinking what we can do to be sure that the family have a memorial. Understand? Because if that memorial goes, I don't know how can we get a...
Now, when you say memorial, do you mean the plaque? Is that what you're saying?
For us, the memorial has to have the plaque, the original plaque.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It says that he died and the police pursued.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that is the story. Well, anyway, so we decided, instead of go to the thing, we did we did the march in the normal ways because that is part of the way that the family can express themselves. Okay, but honestly, is one of the reasons is when we go to the police, the people express themselves against the police. Understand? Gail never can finish the speeches in front of the police. We start to cry.
She's emotional. Yeah.
So emotional that they can't finish.
Terrible.
So we say we did exactly the same, but trying to avoid the more emotional parts because it's not going to change much. And we organized to go to the community center of Redfern. I talked to the administration and I said that we want to present a letter to you and the community center. And that we did. The letter said is simple. We said that it's very, very probable is according to the result of the elections in this state they're going to be next month, if the Liberals win, the first thing they're going to do is put down the towers. So we have to be sure that we can get a safe place for a memorial for TJ.
Oh, good.
First. That was the first point. Second point, where? It has to be in a place that cannot be touched. They cannot be prepared to be, they change it or whatever, okay? That's something that, because they're building a lot of units around this community center, that changed the block completely, okay? The block is just...
They want to ruin the block.
Eh?
They want to ruin the block. I mean, it's a meeting place for Aboriginal people.
The blocks doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Totally gone.
It's gone.
Anyway, Entonces, we say the letter says the following thing is, we are concerned with this, blah, blah, blah. The family has been campaigning 19 years marching, never stopping. They have to have a place where to go and meet with the kids. Okay?
Absolutely.
That was the argument. And the second argument, no one mentioned, is the community center was built under the orders of Carr. In that time was the Premier of New South Wales. And did that to trying to keep, after the death of TJ, trying to keep a bit of good relation with some of the Aboriginal people. Understand?
Raul, we're going to have to finish, actually, because I've got 2 minutes. Very quickly.
Okay, very quickly. We go to there. We ask them to organize a meeting with the people in the council, is the one they control the community center, to have a meeting with the family of TJ, with the other people supporting TJ, to explain to them that we need that this community center change the name. First change, community center TJ Hickey.
Oh, wow, that's great. Well, listen,
that is the way to change the real...
to name it after. Yep, absolutely.
Understand? And that's why we want to do this, trying to get most people with us when we go to the council, we go to everywhere, understand? And for that, there has to be a plan, a campaign, to people know what we're going to do next day or after.
All right.
That's it?
I've run out of time. Thank you very much, Raul. You did a wonderful job, and we'll talk very soon about that. Let me know about the letter,
right.
okay?
Okay.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. And thank you to everybody that came onto the show today. It's approximately 4:56. We've got about 1 minute, and I'm out of here. So finishes the series of the commemoration of TJ Hickey. Until the next commemoration and the next death, let's hope the deaths in custody stop soon. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see how we go. And thank you. And stay strong, stay tuned every Monday from 4 to 5 for the Doin Time show. And we're going to be going out now with our theme song, Black Fella, White Fella by the Rumpy Band. Bye. Stay strong.
You've been listening to a 3CR podcast produced in the studios of independent community radio station 3CR in Melbourne, Australia. For more information, go to allthews.3cr.org.au.
Black fella, white fella, it doesn't matter what you color, as long as you a true fella, as long as you a real fella. All the people of different races, with different lives, in different places. It doesn't matter what your name is. We got to have lots of changes. We need more brothers if we're to make it. We need more sisters if we're to save it. Are you the one who's gonna stand up and be counted? Are you the one who's gonna be there when we shout it? Are you the one who's always ready with a helping hand? Are you the one who understands this family plan? Black fella, white fella, yellow fella, any fella, it doesn't matter what you color, as long as you a true fella. All the people of different races, with different lives, in different places. It doesn't matter which religions, it's all